So I had heard rumors, but the Flask is absolutely broken. It is probably the best weapon to come out of the DLC, and I've put together a build for it that we're going to get into right now. You are absolutely going to love this. The damage you're going to do is outlandish. It's really crazy. So let me go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. So quick disclaimer here, everything you're seeing is level 184 build, and it's recorded on the first playthrough and New Game Plus 1. Also, massive shout out to Godology. He's one of the people within my Discord community, and he helped me record the entire playthrough that you're seeing. So in this build, every single thing that you're wearing and wielding is going to matter. If you don't have this exact setup, you are not going to get this amount of damage out. So we're going to take you through every single piece of the gear, as well as Talismans, Flask, and the armor that we're wearing, just so you guys have a well-rounded understanding of how to make this build at home. This weapon is going to build off of successive attacks and bleed, so we are going to be leaning heavily into buffing our damage, buffing our successive attacks, as well as buffing our attack power from bleed damage as much as humanly possible. With the successive attacks of this weapon, especially with the Ash of War, you are going to be building hemorrhage up incredibly fast, causing multiple hemorrhage procs to happen in any given boss fight. And the last thing I'll say before we get into the weapon of this build is that the jump attack pattern is the same as a dual curve sword moveset, which means you get those 4 really crispy attacks every single time you jump, and we're not even using the Claw Talisman or the Raptor's Black Feathers, and we're still doing a crazy amount of damage. Now let's go ahead and break down the weapon for the build. The Flask is going to be a really awesome strength and dexterity weapon, having a B scaling in dex and a D scaling in strength, and you're going to be doing some really decent physical damage because you are doing damage very quickly with this weapon at 246 plus 105. You have innate blood loss at 55, and even though that might seem like a low amount, Revenger's Blade is going to hit so many times that you can actually proc hemorrhage multiple times. Now, we just mentioned the Revenger's Blade. This is where the weapon absolutely shines. You're going to raise both weapons behind you and then dart towards your enemy, doing a massive slash. Then the follow-up slash is going to be a rapid-fire attack where you hit the enemy multiple times, inflicting devastating damage. Now, I will say you can get knocked out of the second portion of this Ash of War, so you do need to choose your windows carefully, but once you make contact, you are going to absolutely crush. Now, in order to get this weapon, you are going to have to do Hornsent's Questline or be invaded by Hornsent at some point, and after you kill him, you will be rewarded with this weapon. Now, as far as the talismans go, it is not complicated. We are working as hard as we possibly can in order to get these successive attacks boosted and our attack power from blood loss boosted as well. So we are using the Shard of Alexander in order to boost our Ash of War by 15%. The Shard of Alexander is going to give you that 15% extra damage for ashes or special skills, so you definitely want to have this one equipped. The second talisman is going to be the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, which is going to give us a 20% increase in damage after blood loss is detected in the vicinity. Our third talisman is going to be Millicent's Prosthesis, which is going to give us plus 5 dexterity, as well as plus 11% attack power boost anytime we get our successive attacks up and running. Now, our fourth talisman stacks very well with Millicent's Prosthesis, and that's going to be the Rotten Wing Sword Insignia. This is going to give us a 13% increase attack power boost anytime we get our successive attacks up and running, so pretty much anytime you get off the entire Ash of War, you are going to have a massive attack power boost, because not only is Rotten Wing Sword Insignia and Millicent's Prosthesis going to proc, but Lord of Blood's Exaltation is also going to proc, as well as our White Mask. But we're going to get into our armor in just a second. So if you want to find the Shard of Alexander, you can go to the description of this particular video, and I will leave a video for Alexander's Questline down in the description, so you guys can follow along and get that for yourself. The Lord of Blood's Exaltation is going to be located in the Lindell Catacombs dungeon, located right here on the map. And the last two talismans, the Rotten Wing Sword Insignia and Millicent's Prosthesis, are both going to be attained after you complete Millicent's Questline. However, you can't get them both in one run. So this is technically a New Game Plus build, but if you don't have one or the other, just replace it with the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman in order to get some extra damage negation, and that will help you especially in the DLC. Now, for the first time in a while, our armor actually really matters. On our head, we're going to have the White Mask, which is going to give us a 10% damage increase anytime blood loss is in the vicinity, which is incredibly important for this build. And then I believe the Ensbox set is going to increase our attack power with blood loss of some kind by 14%, but I'm not 100% certain of this, so please, somebody down in the comments, let me know if I'm right or wrong. I know that when you use blood skills, you get that attack power boost, but I'm not 100% sure if it's skills that cause bleed or if it's a bleed skill, if that makes any sense. Now, if you want the white mask, you are going to have to go through Mogwin's Sacred Palace, and you're going to be invaded by 3 white masks. The 3rd white mask is going to invade you right here on the map, and all you need to do is kill him in order to get his mask. Now, as far as the Icebox set, you are going to either get it at the very end of the DLC, or if you kill him early, you also are going to get it then. Now, when it comes to our Flask of Wondrous Physic, obviously we're boosting that successive attack power with the Thorny Cracked Tear. That's going to give us a 20% increase in our attack power. However, we're also going to be using the Blood-Sucking Cracked Tear, which is going to increase our attack power by 20% more. However, this is going to drain 20 HP per second. That's not a big deal though, considering most of your enemies are dead within just a few seconds of you cracking this tier. Now, the Thorny Cracked Tear is going to be found at the end of the game in the consecrated snowfields. If you look at the top right of the map, there's going to be an Erdtree there, and under that Erdtree will be an Erdtree avatar. Kill that avatar, and then the Thorny Cracked Tear will be yours. And the Blood-Sucking Cracked Tear is going to be a DLC Cracked Tear that's going to be found from one of the fire golems within the ruins of Unte right here on the map. Now, when it comes to the buffs of your build, you are going to be using Flame Grant Me Strength and Golden Vow. If you don't want to spend the Faith and use Golden Vow at plus 25 Faith, then you can just use the Consumable, which is going to do the exact same thing. However, with both of them combined, Flame Grant Me Strength and Golden Vow are going to give you plus 15% damage negation as well as plus 35% physical damage. This is going to be immensely helpful for our build, especially when we're fighting bosses in the DLC because their health pools are just massive. If you did have a really high level build and wanted to use Howl of Shabriri here as well, that would also be fantastic. However, you are going to take more damage with that, so I would just be careful. Now, if you're looking for Golden Vow, it's going to be up at the Corpse Stench Shack located right here on the map in Mount Gelmir, and if you need to pick up Flame Grant Me Strength, you can head down to Caelid, and outside of Fort Gale, it's going to be sitting right in between 2 flame chariots. And lastly, we're going to go over the stats to make this build work. This is a level 184 build, like I said. However, if you do want to rock this at 150, you are very able to do so. You just won't have the faith that goes along with this build. So Vigor, we're doing 60. That is almost a necessity when it comes to the DLC. Anything under that, you're just going to be getting 1 to 2 shotted. Mind is 13 because we barely need any of it. Endurance is up at 28. Strength is at 13. Dexterity is at 70, but 75 with the Millicent's prosthesis, allowing us to get more physical damage. Intelligence is at 14 since we don't need that at all. Faith is at 25 for the buffs. And Arcane is at 40 just so we can get that sweet bleed. And guys, there you have it. That is going to be it for the Falx build. I've had an absolute blast with this build. However, I also want to know one thing. Are you guys getting ready to move away from Elden Ring? I know the game has been out for 2 years and the DLC has been out for 2 to 3 weeks. Are you all still trucking your way through Elden Ring, or are some of you starting to move on? I've heard some rumors that people are slowly starting to move on from the game, which makes me incredibly sad, but it is what it is. So let me know down in the comments where you guys are going, what games you guys are playing. But if you enjoyed the video and you're getting value out of the content, make sure to subscribe and leave a like on the video. And until next time, stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.